Hey, Dr. Bob here, and in this video, if you're watching this, it means that you're probably around halfway finished with a treatment plan in our office. So I wanted to send this video and I just wanted to explain, results and where most people are at this point in their treatment plan and where we're gonna go next. So first off, just across the board, at this time, I would say that patients are experiencing one of three changes. So the first group would be someone that, this is the majority of patients that I see, it's typically like 75% of patients that I see will tell me that at this point they're noticing that their symptoms that they came in with are not as severe and they're not as frequent. So they'll say that they're seeing pretty big changes. They're in a different spot than they were a few weeks ago. Their symptoms are still present, but they're not nearly as bad as they were. It just means that we're getting out of more of a pain phase and we're shifting into more of a muscle memory phase. So if you remember a previous email that I would have sent on, it's called intrinsic muscles. At this point, those exercises are going to be the most important ones to focus on because it's going to stabilize your spine. So that's 7 out of 10 people that I see. And then there'll be like 2 out of 10 people that I see will tell me that their symptoms are like 100% better. So they'll say, I was like an 8 out of 10, or I was a 10 out of 10, and I'm like a 0. I don't notice any other problems. And that's great. That's really what I want to see. But at the same time, I've kind of learned over the years that people have a tendency to, if you're feeling better, maybe not you consistently continue treatments. And it's a slippery slope because if you don't continue to stabilize it, the chances of a relapse and you going back to where you started are pretty high. So even though someone might be 100% better, I still encourage keep doing your treatments, keep doing the adjustments, keep working on exercises at home to stabilize it so it doesn't keep coming back. Right? And then the last category would be someone that I see. It's very, very low. I mean, this is like 5% of patients that I would see, and they're always noticing some sort of a change, but it's maybe not where they thought they would be at this point. Maybe they're still having their symptoms. Maybe it's improved, but it's not as far as they thought it would be. Sometimes patients are going through a treatment plan and it's like up and down, and you go through peaks and you go through valleys, and maybe they're in a valley right now and their symptoms are still pretty intense. And this is a perfect time to do a re-exam and find out our progress to make sure that we're still on track. But a lot of times it tells me that if there's, if there could be something at home that the patient's doing, like maybe sitting at a computer all day long is creating a bad muscle memory, so that's something that needs to be addressed. Again, the exercises at this point are going to be very important for that type of person. Maybe somebody is having a lot of stress in their lives, or they're not sleeping very well at night. There's some sort of outside factor that could be contributing to their problem, or it just means that they just need more time. But a lot of times it tells me that the problem's been like that for a very long time and we're trying to unwind this. It doesn't mean that you're not seeing results, doesn't mean that you're not making changes. It just might mean that it's just taking a little bit longer, unfortunately. And I hate to see that because I like to see people see consistent, steady progress if we can. But again, we will address that when we do our re-exam and assess your progress and where to go next. And the last thing I want to talk about is different symptoms that people will see a reduction in addition to what brought them into our office. So for example, someone might notice their blood pressure is improving as they're getting adjusted, or their immune system's functioning better, they don't get sick as often, their sinus infections that they always had are going away, their allergy problems are improving, they're sleeping better. I've had people come off of thyroid meds, all types of different hormone replacement therapies, things are improving, their body's just healthier than it used to be. And I thought at this point I wanted to explain how this works, because this is around the time when you're typically going to start to notice it. And how this works, if you remember previous email, I explained this, but I just want to go through and explain it again, is it has to do with your nervous system, and that's directly what chiropractic focuses on. And so, quick anatomy lesson, your nervous system is made up of your brain, your spinal cord, and your nerves, and your brain sends messages down your spinal cord and then through the nerves, and your brain connects with each part of your body through these nerves. And your brain is known as the master controller of your body. So like in a computer, the CPU runs the computer, and in your body, the brain is the CPU. It's the most important aspect because it has to connect and tell every single part of your body how to work, how to function properly. And if you think of like a Wi-Fi system, our bodies are not Wi-Fi. They're wired. They're like cable, DSL, but it's the nerves that are the wires, and they relay the messages from your brain to the different parts of your body. So for example, when you eat a meal, your brain is going to start sending messages down the spinal cord in your back, over the nerve in between your shoulders that connects directly to your stomach, and your brain's going to tell your stomach to start digesting that food. So it's going to tell it things like produce this amount of hydrochloric acid or pepsin. It might tell your pancreas to start producing insulin, if there's sugar involved. But it's going to tell your body how to digest that meal. The nerves are how your brain relays these messages. How chiropractic care plays a role in this is if someone has a misalignment within this area of their spine, it puts pressure on the nerves. So it's like it clamps down on the nerves, it interferes and distorts that message. Your brain's trying to connect with that part of the body, if that's your stomach, and if the message is distorted, it doesn't get there properly, and then the functionality decreases in that part of the body. So it's like your brain knows what it's doing, it's trying to connect, but the stomach's just not hearing it. It's like there's, the radio is turned up too loud and you're shouting to someone and they can't hear you. Stomach can't hear what's going on, and so it just doesn't work properly. Maybe your brain tells your stomach to produce hydrochloric acid in a small amount and it produces a lot and it starts to come back up and you notice acid reflux. So if you're noticing changes with your digestive system, you see them improving, it's because we're changing the alignment, we're releasing that pressure on the nerves, the brain can connect to the stomach better, it's functioning a lot better than it used to, and symptoms are improving. So that's why I say at this point, we made enough changes that somebody might notice digestive system improving. They might notice thyroid is improving. They might notice that they sleep a lot better at night. If it's children, you might notice that your children's, maybe if it's ADHD or hyperactivity, is starting to calm down. Immune system's functioning better. People tell me that all the time, that they felt like they always got sick and they no longer get sick anymore. Or children that come in with ear infections, the ear infections are starting to change because their immune system's functioning a lot better. But it's all of these nerves that come off that connect and they control everything. And the premise behind this is that our bodies are self-healing, they're self-regulating. They know what your brain knows what you need to function properly, as long as there's no interference in the system.
Hopefully you got some great information from this video. We look forward to seeing you on your next appointment. For more health tips, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.